How you doing, guys? Sam Spencer here. I hope you're all exceptionally well and you're having a good is it Sunday? Sunday today. I hope you're having a good Sunday. So, let me just sort this camera out. 1 second. So we have just completed this week on a property that was a repossession. I don't know what that was, but we're live, so it is what it is, right? So we've just completed on a repossession property, so I'm absolutely buzzing. But and we've done quite a few of these now, to be honest. And I've learned more and more and more the more we've done. So I thought it would be really useful if I came on today and spoke to you a little bit about repossessed properties or corporate sales and how you can get the best out of them and try to avoid some of the mistakes that essentially we made. Okay, so it's a corporate sale. Same thing, repossession, corporate sale, exactly the same thing. All right. Now, essentially, the person has defaulted on their payments, and the bank or the lender have taken that property back. Okay. So they then obviously instruct one or many estate agents to sell it on their behalf. So one of the challenges can be is that sometimes the agents don't know exactly what the bank or the lender will accept for that property. Okay, some do, some don't. But similarly, this is based on your relationship. Some agents are fantastic and they'll tell you everything you need to know, but that's based on you building a relationship with them over a period of time. Okay, the challenge is sometimes when they don't know exactly how much the bank will accept, you will need to provide all of your documents, i.e. your proof of funds, your verified ID, your solicitor details, before they will even put that offer forward to the bank to see if you're even close to being accepted. Whereas, a normal sale, you might be able to get an indication from the agent what the vendor will take, or they might even tell you what they'll take, depending on your relationship. So you put that offer forward to the agent, who then puts that forward to the bank. Let's say if that gets accepted, great news, then you're going to go to public notice. Or will you? And I'll come on to that in a second. Generally speaking, the property is going to go to what we call public notice. That means it stays online, it stays on Rightmove, it stays on all the sales portals, and it basically says, let's say for example, it was on Rightmove for 80,000, just for argument's sake, and you had an offer accepted at 70,000, the description will then be modified to say it's on public notice, there's been an offer accepted of 70,000. So I'm sure you can guess, this really opens up the game for other investors, other people to gazump you. So other people can come in and then bid or offer higher than what your public notice is at, and then the public notice shifts to them. So it could be 200 quid or whatever, and that public notice typically will remain on that property until the point of exchange. Okay, so let's say for example, it was on for 80 grand, you had 70 grand accepted, you're 4 weeks into conveyancing or whatever, another bid comes in 500 quid more, that will get accepted, your bid then is chucked out, for want of a better phrase. Your conveyancing stops at that point. Obviously, the risk is that you've wasted time and money on this, because there'll be some sort of abortion fee from the solicitors. You may have had a survey, so you may lose money. So that's the risk that you're going to undertake, and then it can turn into obviously a bit of a bidding war. So investors can then be going backwards and forwards on these repossessed properties in a bidding war, almost like an auction style bidding war, and that can go on, and it just keeps the point just keeps resetting until you reach to that exchange. So ultimately, if you're going to purchase a corporate sale or a repossessed property, you've got to do everything in your power to get to the point of exchange as fast as you physically can. Now, if we just take a step back about public notices, I was under the impression until a few months ago that public notices were mandatory on corporate sales. However, we found out that they're not, because basically what happened was two things really. Number one, my mentor said, no, they're not. It's based on your relationship with that particular bank, lender, and estate agent. And number two, we had experience in that. So basically what happened was, it was about maybe 6 months ago or so, we had an offer accepted on a corporate sale, and the project was going through conveyancing. It got gazumped, so our bid was no more. Someone else was going through with it, and they backed out at the last second. So basically what had happened was, the agent had then contacted us based on what the lender had said to them, and said, look, are they still interested in it? We can revert back to their original price. And we said yes, however our offer is subject to you removing the public notice from that property, and based on, again, conversations with my mentor on having that conversation with them. So we had that conversation, and they did. They removed the public notice. It was still a repossession, but it gave us maybe that little bit more time to complete on it, and we weren't shitting ourselves, for want of a better phrase. Every day we got a phone call to say that we'd been gazumped again and lost money or whatever, right? So it can be taken off, but it's based on your relationships, right? So, as I said, and guys, if you've got any questions, please drop them in below. Things can be a bit delayed. If you've got any questions on, repos or whatever, drop them in the comments just here. If I don't see them live, I always endeavour to go back and answer as many questions as I can. All right. So this has happened to us recently. We just completed on this repo, and really it is the race to exchange. So what can you do? You've got to obviously be in a position to complete quick. So typically you want to be buying with cash. All right, you want to buy with cash because obviously it's a lot quicker. You've not got to wait for a valuation. You've not got to wait for your broker to get your decision in principle, and you've not got to wait for the lender to do all their checks and blah, 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 all this sort of stuff. So you've got to be buying cash because it's quicker, all right? Maybe you could buy bridge. Sometimes bridging is quick. It's sort of portrayed as being quick. Sometimes bridging is not quick. So ideally you're buying in cash, all right? Ideally, don't buy with a mortgage. You can obviously if you want to, but don't do it, because by the time the lender's got their act together, and by the time, you broke your decision in principle, lender's got their act together, the valuation's taken place, and it's gone to full application, it's just increasing your risk levels of being gazumped. I'm not saying that you will get gazumped, but it's just increasing your risk multiple times over. So I'd recommend that you don't do that, all right? Also, think about indemnifying your searches. So not many people know that you can do this, but obviously when you purchase a property, you obviously need to get searches, right? Local searches, they look at flood risks and all these types of things, all right? Typically, if you're buying with a mortgage, the mortgage company will insist on you having searches done. If you're buying with cash, you can what you call indemnify the searches. And what that means is you can get an insurance policy against the searches. So if anything comes up in the future that affects you getting lending or whatever, then that insurance policy would pay out. The thing is as well, you can pick up indemnity insurance for 60, 70, 80 quid. It's usually a lot cheaper than the searches themselves, but all it does is it massively speeds that process up. So similarly, if you're looking at searches, typically the local search that takes the longest, all right? You don't have to have them. So I'd recommend that you do that as well. So there's just some things that I think will help in terms of you getting this property through to exchange as quickly as possible. You still do undertake an element of risk. Just understand that there is risk in the fact that you may get gazumped, and it is what it is. All right, this is property investing. There's always risks we need to undertake. You just need to understand that risk and make sure your team, conveyancing team, your legal team understand that this is a corporate sale, therefore time is of the essence, but understand it's your deal as well. So you need to be on top of them, on their back all the time, getting this property through. All right, the book just doesn't just stop because you've handed it over to a solicitor. It's your deal. Take it by the scruff of the neck and make sure it happens. All right, but it's all about relationships, right? So as part of my job, I want to help the vendors. Yes, we provide a service which provides unbelievable value to investors, but ultimately as well, I want to help vendors. Once it goes to corporate sale or repo, whatever you want to call it, it's gone beyond of the point of me helping that vendor. Because obviously at that point, they've had the house taken off them. So the goal for me really is to get to these people prior to them having their house taken off them. All right, multiple ways you can do that, obviously, with your direct to vendor tactics. Again, my role within that is to not screw the vendor and get a cheap property from them. Okay, my first goal is trying to help that vendor keep their property, and there's multiple ways you could do that. All right, if, for example, that's not achievable and they're going to get their house taken off them regardless of what you do to try and help them, then the next goal is how can you help them alleviate that pain, alleviate that challenge, and help them with the property. Would it be buying it? Would it be paying for their mortgage for them? Would it be taking that debt off them? What are the solutions to their challenge? All right, but the only way you can do that is by getting to them people before the property gets repossessed and having a sit down with them and working out, well, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? If I could wave a magic wand, what would happen? And then you try and work towards that. Okay, it's going to be an interesting time moving forwards, obviously, with COVID-19, people losing their jobs, people being furloughed, etc., etc. There's going to be more and more repossessions, which is really, really horrible to see. But if we could help people, we could help vendors in this time and get fantastic results for our clients, then, you know, I'm going to take that opportunity, most definitely. All right, so I hope this was useful to you guys. Any questions you've got, drop them below. Let me have a quick look if we've got any. Kyle, what you saying? My first, I tried to buy a repo and that happened. Got gazumped due to them not taking it off the market and the fact we'll buy with a mortgage. So exactly the same, mate. We did that as well. Didn't take it off the market. We bought with a mortgage. This was months ago. We found out the hard way, like you, mate. Yeah, we got gazumped and lost the property several times, to be honest. So it's just having this knowledge and being able to implement it. So I hope that helped. Any questions you've got, as I said, drop them below. Have a fantastic Sunday. The weather's beautiful. Get your exercise in and speak to you soon.